How did Bartholomew die? Today, we're going to dive into one of the most intense and disturbing stories of Christ's apostles. Bartholomew, also known as Nathanael of Cana, was a man marked by a simple yet profoundly unwavering faith. He journeyed through distant lands, faced hostile gazes, and carried the flame of truth to the ends of the earth. But his end was not common. His death remains shrouded in mystery, pain, and shocking accounts that have echoed through the centuries and still stir fear and curiosity today. What truly happened to Bartholomew? How did the journey end for the one who dared to witness the gospel before peoples who refused to listen? The landscape before Bartholomew was desolate, yet at the same time imbued with a silent beauty, a beauty only the eyes of a man of faith could perceive. The pale sun, already retreating to give way to night, cast long shadows, like skeletal hands, that stretched across the arid, cracked earth. Each fissure in the ground seemed to reflect not only the misery of the soil, but also the misery of the soul of an empire that refused to receive the light, the grace of God. There, beneath the sky bidding farewell with a melancholy light, Bartholomew walked. His step was calm, determined, almost as if he were part of the landscape, a silent presence in the great drama of human history. In this somber setting, Bartholomew was a beacon, a human being immersed in a deep, almost transcendental peace, which contrasted sharply with his surroundings. In his solitary walk, he became the very message of faith, love, and sacrifice. His worn clothes and tired feet were not signs of weakness, but symbols of his resilience. For the resilience he carried was not physical, but spiritual. The man who, before a human Messiah, without fully understanding, once questioned, now had no doubts. He knew that Christ was the truth, the life, and the light, and that his own life, if dedicated to this truth, would also become eternal. Bartholomew's journey, which began in the humble lands of Cana, was now far distant. Cana, where he, as Nathanael, had been called in a mysterious and moving way, in the shadow of a fig tree, by the one who would be his salvation. Upon hearing Jesus' words, that simple man, with doubts and questions, found something deeper than mere answers. He found a path, a truth, a purpose greater than anything he could imagine. Now, many years later, under skies heavy with the clouds of an impending storm, Bartholomew was far from his homeland. He traveled, always on a mission, carrying the seed of the gospel to distant lands. In every city, in every village, the name of Christ was proclaimed, but also, in every place, he faced contempt, indifference, and often the hatred of those who feared the light he brought. And yet his faith did not waver. His faith was no longer just a belief. It was his life, his essence, his strength. A strength forged not in theories or dogmas, but in lived experiences alongside Christ. Bartholomew's faith was not passive. He did not preach distantly, nor without compassion, like someone merely fulfilling a mission. His faith was active, pulsating, made of action and surrender. He healed the sick with his hands, touched hearts with his words, and, through his own life, demonstrated how Christ's resurrection was not an abstract concept, but the reality for all who believed. He himself, in his life, and now in his imminent martyrdom, was the embodiment of that resurrection. Traditions, often contradictory, speak of his death in various ways, but all converge on a common point. Bartholomew, like all true apostles, was martyred. It is said that he was beaten, dragged through the streets, and that his body was tortured in unspeakable ways. But amidst the pain and suffering, he never lost focus. His eyes, fixed on the heavens, remained turned towards the Lord's promise, to the glory that awaited those who, like him, completely surrendered to divine truth.
In Bartholomew's words and deeds, faith was not a matter of theories or speculations, but something visceral. He was willing to sacrifice everything, his freedom, his health, his life, so that the name of Christ would be proclaimed, and others could experience the same peace, the same inner resurrection that he already experienced. And even in the face of the cruel death that awaited him, he did not deviate from his path.
When he was finally arrested, many versions recount that he was cruelly flayed alive, a death of indescribable suffering. But even then, his soul remained unbroken. In his agony, Bartholomew might have remembered his own encounter with Christ, when, initially, he had questioned, "How do you know me?" And now, facing cruel adversity, Bartholomew knew that Jesus, the Messiah, was by his side, as he always had been, from the first moment he was called under the fig tree. The serenity he conveyed at the end of his journey, even at the height of his pain, was the same serenity he had always experienced when he was near Christ. Bartholomew's faith, forged in the flames of pain and sacrifice, became a testament to the power that resides in God's love and truth. But his death was not the end. Like the Christ he followed, Bartholomew, through his martyrdom, became a seed of eternal life. His death was not an end, but a transition to glory. Just as Christ conquered death, Bartholomew's death was not a defeat, but a victory. His spirit, now free from the chains of the body, ascended to heaven, where it found the prize promised to those who remain faithful to the end. And we, who live in a world often insensitive to pain and suffering, are invited to reflect on his life and death. It's not just about